Hey guys, so there's a lot going on right now in the world with the virus that's spreading, and a lot of people are stocking up on food just in case we need to shut ourselves in our homes for a couple weeks. So we are going to can some dry beans so that I can have them on the shelf ready to eat. We're going to get started here in a few minutes, and I will show you step by step how I can my dry beans. Okay, so I've got my canner ready. You can see Big Bertha here. This thing is awesome. We found this at an antique shop for super cheap. It is actually Ball brand, and this is a pressure canner, not to be confused with a pressure cooker. They're actually two different things, so make sure if you're going to try this, you get a pressure canner, not a pressure cooker. So this one has the little twist things that tighten down, has no gasket. I'll show you in a little bit later that there's no gasket. It has a gauge instead of a weight. So I've got a gauge and a petcock. This is where you tighten down to create pressure and loosen it to let the steam off. And then I have my water bath canner there that I've got a silicone rack in, so I'll boil my jars in that. The next thing I'm going to do is get my jars ready, make sure they're good and clean. The last thing I'll do is throw them in the boiling water so that they'll be good and hot before I put them in the canner. So I will go get my jars ready and get my beans ready to prepare, and we'll be back here shortly. Okay everyone, so here I have my workspace all set up and ready to go. First thing I usually do is set down a clean dry towel, and this is just the space that I work from. I know that everything is clean, so I don't have to worry about setting things down on countertops or anything of that nature. So I have my lids here. I'm going to be using wide mouth jars, so of course I've got wide mouth lids. These are Ball brand, and I've gone ahead and washed them with soap and water. They were new straight from the package, but I always go ahead and wash them anyway. I've got my funnel. Okay. And then my little jar grabber, which we won't really need till the end, but I've got it sitting out for when I'm ready. Okay, and I've got some northern white beans here and some pintos. So what I'm going to do here in a minute is go through my beans. Look, I've got some black beans in there. How funny is that? That doesn't fit. But I'm going to go through my beans and pick out, all the ones that shouldn't be in there. Okay, everything looks good. So now I'm gonna come over here. So I'm just rinsing. Okay, y'all, so I have some jars. I've got my others here in the boiling water. So these jars here just came out of the canner and are hot. So I'm just gonna do, my pinto beans first. And I can't find my cup measure, so I'm just doing a cup per jar. Okay, so I got my beans in these jars here. Like I said, I did a cup per jar. So then I'm going to get my water going. I don't really need this right this moment. And I'm just going to fill these jars up to about where the rim is. You want about an inch of headspace. Oops, I'm making a mess. About there. Okay? Okay, so I've got those filled up. The next thing I'm going to do is take my canning salt, which this is canning and pickling salt. It is just non-iodized salt. Okay, so I'm going to take my canning salt, and I'm going to pour it into a bowl to make this just a little bit easier because I'm struggling to do this one-handed. Yay! I probably don't need that much, but it's alright. Okay, so in each jar, I'm just going to do 1 teaspoon. of canning salt. That's all you need. And you can season it. You can season your beans later once you open them up. Okay, so then over here I have my lids. They're still getting warm. I have just a couple minutes to wait before they are warm enough to put on my jars. Okay guys, so I have my jars ready here. I've got the rings just finger tight. You don't want them overly tight because your lids can ripple. So I'm just gonna load these up into my canner here. Should be able to fit 7 quarts. I wish I had one of those ginormous canners that fits like 28 quarts in it. Wouldn't that be just awesome? But you know, priorities I suppose. So you don't want the water in the canner higher than the rings, the lids. So, all right. I might actually need to take a little bit out and see where we are now. All right, so I got all my jars in my canner. I'm going to run some oil around the rim here. It helps it seal a little bit since there's no gasket on this type of canner. And then I'm gonna seal her up and get her going. All right, y'all, so I've got it all closed up and I've got the heat on. And I'm going to wait for it to start steaming. Once it starts going, you'll see steam coming out of the petcock here, which is open. And once that starts going, I'll leave that going for 10 minutes before I close the petcock. And then we'll watch the gauge to get up to 10 pounds pressure. Now that is for my elevation, which is under 1,000 feet. So if you're higher than that, you'll want to adjust your pounds accordingly. So make sure you look that up if you're going to try this. So 10 pounds of pressure for my elevation. So now we wait for it to get up to steaming and let it sit for 10 minutes. Alright guys, so we've got up to 10 pounds. Actually, I let it go a little too long and got up to 15, but that's okay. I cut my heat down just a little bit and that will get it to get back down to 10. And we'll get, you know, kind of in a little sweet spot where it will stay at 10, and that's what I'm looking for. But as of right now, I've got my timer going and we are going to wait an hour and a half for these bad boys to cook, and then we'll be fading out here in just a moment and coming back to some candy. Okay, so the timer went off and I turned the burner off, left it sitting on the burner, and let the pressure come down naturally. So now that it is at 0, I'm going to open up the petcock and let out the rest of the pressure that's in there. I'm going to do it real carefully and slowly because there's still going to be a little bit of pressure and steam in there. Okay, so I've lifted the lid off of it, and now we're going to carefully, very, very carefully lift the jars out because they are boiling lava hot and still have the potential to shatter. So very careful. Abigail is locked out of the kitchen. Trust me, she cannot come in here. Yeah, you hear her? She's... See, I'm still sizzling. Yeah. So anyway, one at a time, very slowly. Okay, so now that we have them all out, we leave them in a place where there's no draft. We don't have like immediate air hanging on them or nothing. And oh, you hear that ping? That is the most glorious sound after you put so much effort and work into canning. That ping sound means that it has officially sealed. You see how the button's down? That one looks like it's ping. That one has not yet. That one, I think that one's down. That one's up. That one's down. And that one's down. So really just a couple left to ping. But yeah, it's so awesome when you're done at the end of the evening to sit down and just listen for the pings. So anyway, oh, there's another one. Yes! All right, so that's the canning process from start to finish. Still got my canner back here. Finished product right there. Got some white beans and pinto beans. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments or send me a message on Country Kivett. If you are already a canner, that's great. If you're not and you want to get started, shoot me a message and let's chat about it. Don't just go willy-nilly buy, you know, a canner and try this process without having, you know, researched or looked into everything, because there's a lot to canning to make sure that everything is safe. Me and Jason have been doing this for a few years now, so you want to make sure that you are doing this safely so that your product is shelf stable and you're not, you know, making your family sick or anything like that. So send me a message if you're interested in the process or want to get started. I can actually help you with some easier things. And you don't have to have a pressure canner to can some things. You can do it with a water bath canner. It just has to be more acidic things like, you know, pickles, or I do tomatoes, water bath, things like that. But things that are like beans and other veggies that are low acid, and meat absolutely have to be pressure canned. So let me know if you have any questions or if you need some help getting started canning yourself. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like this video and don't forget to subscribe to my page if you haven't already so that you can see more videos like this. I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture.